Welcome to StarCast from Planet Waves. Today's edition accompanies the weekly horoscope and article for the 8th of February 2024. Welcome wherever you may be in the world. Coming to you on a beautiful, warm, spring-like day here in upstate New York in the mid-Hudson Valley of New York State on the eve of the Aquarius new moon, as well as on the eve of the Lunar New Year, aka Chinese New Year, but also Vietnamese, etc., etc. And this is quite an exciting chart. I've written an article about it that has gone out called The Year of the Green Dragon, as well as a horoscope column that is based on this chart, which has many things going on in Aquarius. For example, Mercury is in Aquarius. Which one is this? This is Ophelia is in Aquarius, and then there is a centaur named Chariklo in Aquarius, and the moon and the sun and an asteroid Icarus in Aquarius. That's the one about flying too close to the sun. And then a planet that spends almost all of its orbit in Aquarius. I don't really know how that works, but I've checked this about 20 times, and it is true. Called Damocles. Is in the last degree of Aquarius before it leaves. Aquarius makes a quick run through the other 11 signs and then winds up back in Aquarius. I forget exactly when that happened, but the important part of that is, from the standpoint of this little missive, is that Damocles will be in Aquarius for the fun. And this is the Asian New Year. It's the second new moon after the winter solstice. That is how that is calculated, and there are a few more interesting things about this chart that I would like to tell you about. One that I have not mentioned till now. I was just gazing at the chart, waiting for my heat to go off, since I didn't feel like, well, it was chilly a minute ago, so I turned it on, but didn't want to record with the forced air vents, the world's worst kind of heat, blowing. So I was meditating on the chart and noticed I had drawn in this square aspect between Boris in late Pisces and Asbolus in late Gemini. I'm sure you're thinking, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know I've thrown around the titles of a lot of asteroids here, but these are not really asteroids. These are actually distant planets that orbit our sun very slowly, and Boris is kind of like about being lied to for your own good. It's about the truth within the lies and the lies within the truth, and it's based on a novel. It's a character in a novel. No, it's a god in a fictional religion in a novel by Kurt Vonnegut called Cat's Cradle. Now, if you feel like reading some fiction and you want to read something that'll take you about 3 hours that you will not want to put down, pick up a copy of Cat's Cradle. It is the perfect novel for our times, and there's a religion in that book called Bokononism, and the Bokononists have as their solar god Boris, and I cannot figure out how this planet got named Boris. I checked with all three of the discoverers, hoping to find the person who suggested the name Boris for this point, and they all said they don't know, which is really weird because only the discoverers name it, and it's a very creative name for a planet. Square, 90 degrees, tense, dynamic aspect, and a very close square at that, splitting a single degree into 3, Asbolus, which is about survival. And to me, this says, very simply, that beware of those who lie for their survival. This, too, is a thing these days, that as long as you do it to survive, i.e., you say it's a living, well, we've all got to eat, it's okay to deceive people. And also, it's okay to deceive them for their own good. Yes, these are the patronizing times in which we live. And so this is cautionary. Boris square Asbolus is cautionary of those who essentially make up stories, flying the flag of purity and goodness, and basically blow smoke up your ass. Okay, so that's one thing going on in this chart. And I wonder what else. That is talking to Damocles, the sword of the servant of the king. I forget who it was who said, "Man, it would be great to be king." And the king said, "Okay, I'll let you be king for a day." And when he was sitting in the throne, he realized that there was a sword, a heavy sword, swords are heavy, hanging above his head by a single horsehair, and that at any moment the sword could break and the thread could break and drop the sword onto the head of the king, thereby killing him. And this servant decides that it's not so great to be king. All right, so Damocles is in the picture. Also, while we're on the Minor Planet Patrol today, conjunct the moon and the sun is Icarus. Icarus is about peak experiences. Now, this is not that close to the moon and the sun, but 2 degrees. Okay, that's not that far away, especially for a moon-sun conjunction. But the sun is going to be conjunct Damocles for a couple of days, and the moon is going to be conjunct Damocles all day tomorrow. So that would be Friday. And therefore, this really is conjunct, Icarus. Icarus is the thing 2 degrees away from the new moon. And Icarus is Icarus was some relative of Daedalus, and the two of them were lost in some maze, and they couldn't get out of this maze. I forget who put them in there. And Icarus constructs wings, and he builds the wings out of wax. Like he connects the feathers to his body using wax, and lo and behold, he can fly, but he flies too close to the sun, and the wax of his wings melts, and thump, he lands right back in the maze. And I don't know how they finally get out of the maze, good old Icarus and Daedalus. But Icarus comes to us astrologically as an indicator of peak experiences, like really needing to do something intense. Things like extreme sports, or why have sex with one person when you can have sex with 5 people, or, why take one drug when you can take 4 different drugs, etc. Peak experiences that have a kind of a soaring feeling to them. So that's in the mix also here. This chart, did I even mention that Pluto is in Aquarius? I think I started when I gave the inventory. I forgot Pluto. So let's go back to Pluto. So Pluto is in Aquarius, 38 arc minutes, just barely dipping in. It entered on the 20th, I believe. This was the big entree of Pluto into Aquarius. We do get a few weeks in the Northern Hemisphere autumn when Pluto dips back in and grazes Capricorn again, but that's kind of a freak of nature. Might not have done that under other orbital circumstances, but it will do that briefly. But for now, and for most of this year, Pluto is going to be in Aquarius. And I had a concept of what the group initiation thing, I'm not sure if you're following me on other platforms, but I've been whining a bit about not having satisfactory examples of group initiation, group evolution associated with Pluto and Aquarius, because in my analysis, given in somewhere in between, there are 3 main things that might manifest under Pluto and Aquarius. One, the supremacy of groups, a problem we've seen quite a bit of in the past 4 years. Groups dominating individuals. The second is individuals challenging groups, using that contrarian thing that Aquarius has to it. And the third is group evolution. And I've been whining that I don't have good examples of genuine group evolution. Now, we see them in certain bands where the people treat each other as equals, even though one person, they write more of the lyrics, a la Radiohead, Tom York, all the members of the band share the credit for the song equally. So that's an example of an evolved group. There are a lot of other examples that usually come from like the disaster department. Things bad happen, like a tornado comes through a town and then the town has to grieve its losses and rebuild. That is a group evolution, and there's many, many examples of that. But do we really need to wait until a tornado comes through your town to experience some kind of a group evolution? So I'm looking for as many ideas as possible about group evolution so that I can put those ideas back out and give people a sense of what that might look like and feel like so that you recognize it when you're experiencing it. And I would say that any form of cooperation, any form of a scenario where two or more people get together and say, hey, this will be easier and better if we do it together, let's give that a try, would qualify as a form of group evolution. Now, obviously, we want these things to last. We want there to be kind of a maturing quality to them and some long-lasting benefit, but let's get the practice while we can. So I would say with all of this Aquarius, particularly Pluto, driving the entire movement, any opportunity to cooperate with other people for collective purposes or for their benefit rather than your benefit. Now, I mean, we all need things in the world, but there's a special pleasure that, sometimes thought of as being the volunteer spirit of you help when you can just because it's the thing to do. It feels good, or you want to help, or it's just the right thing to do. So any such contribution or collaboration, I think, would count as practice steps on the way to group evolution. One or two more points. This new moon is harmonizing very nicely with the Chiron group in late Aries. That's Chiron, North Node, and Eris. As we head for a total solar eclipse 2 new moons from now, conjunct Chiron. This is going to be a big solar eclipse that cuts through southeastern Canada, clear through middle United States, down diagonally to Texas and into Mexico, where the eclipse reaches its maximum intensity. So this new moon is playing nice with that forthcoming new moon and the placements in late Aries, to me, symbolizing the collaboration between the one and the many rather than the typical every man for himself kind of thing, or me against the world kind of a thing that we get a lot of the time. So the individual and the group collaborating. And there's one other thing going on, and I am sad to say that this aspect is waning, meaning that it's past its peak intensity. It's still within 1 degree of exactitude, but Jupiter is moving forward, and the aspect is Jupiter 60 degrees away from Saturn. That's called a sextile, and I think that is an aspect of maximum, interaction, collaboration, traction. It's not confrontational like a square or an opposition. It's not easy peasy, oops, I missed my chance like a trine. It's not this constant need to adjust and adapt like a quincunx 150-degree aspect. It's not triggering like a semisquare or sesquiquadrate. It is simply collaborative, and it has traction, and it is balanced, and we have both Jupiter and Pisces in feminine signs, for example, Pisces and Taurus. And to me, this is helping hold the world in balance, such as it may be. And as Jupiter moves out of that sextile to Saturn, it moves into a conjunction to Uranus, and this is going to be a tremendous accelerant all through the spring. This is going to be a very, very unusual spring forthcoming. That said, I'm offering a spring reading called Eye of the Centaur. You'll see ads for it starting to go around. They're pretty green and orange ads with a total solar eclipse and a galaxy superimposed over it. These are going to be my first set of video readings focusing on Chiron. And these will be out the first week of March. I'm planning to record them the last week of February at the Astrology Chalet in Rosendale. We have a whole bunch of new subscribers to the Planet Waves Substack from the Somewhere in Between project. Those readings are still hot. Welcome to customers of Somewhere in Between who are listening to this and who have recently joined us. I've got a hot Planet Waves FM for you planned for Sunday. This seems to be the program's new day. We are going to continue to take apart people who are essentially, well, lying to the public for survival, as we began with Boris CC Square as Bolus, who are saying, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to lie to you. There's a good few of those in the celebrity class of the health freedom movement, so-called, and other things. We'll be checking in with Reiner Fulmich's handler on the outside in Canada. Reiner Fulmich, another celebrity health freedom person, in jail in Germany, or so we are told. And I will have a comprehensive, long interview with, well, her name is Elsa, and she is Reiner's handler, and many other things going on Sunday's Planet Waves FM. Thank you for your business, your trust, for listening, for sharing this podcast and article with other people. And I'm going to sign off and say good evening, and I will catch you on Sunday with Planet Waves FM. Thanks so much. Lots of love, and bye for now.